Good morning, it's Ricky Patton here from Data Basics, Tuesday morning, 14th March 2017. Great, we're having the second webinar from Data Basics of 2017. The topic of this webinar is Digital Asset Management for the Fast-Moving Consumer Good Marketplace. Within FMCG, we are also encompassing Consumer Packaged Goods, CPG. I'll refer to the marketplace as FMCG during the webinar, but we are referring to both areas. We've got people from both areas. There's a slight difference we see in how people discriminate their marketplace based upon their products and methodologies. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. I can still see some people logging in. We're here to help at Data Basics, so anytime you've got any questions, please do ask. These webinars will be running 3 every quarter. Our next webinar after this will be on the 28th of March. It'll be on Flight LHR, showing the latest features of the solution. And then straight after, the week after that, we'll be running a webinar on Uploader, which is an additional application built by Data Basics, currently working with the Cumulus solution. It's there for people to be able to upload content in bulk along with tagging of metadata. We've got that running in quite a few customer locations already. Okay, now then, again, so I'll start in the main part of the webinar. I can still see some people logging in. All of these webinars are available online via our YouTube channel, and everybody that's signed up for the webinar will get a link sent out to them tomorrow with the recording of the webinar. Now, as I run the webinar, please anytime using the GoToMeeting control panel, ask me a question. So I've got the, hold on, just make sure I've got the question panel open here. Yep, I can see questions. So yep, ask me a question anytime. I'll endeavour to answer the questions as they come in. My first question to you guys is, can everybody hear me okay? Right. Right, I'll put that up in the chat area. If anybody cannot hear me and you would have seen the chat message, please let me know. You should be okay. I've used this setup quite a few times. Okay, so what we're about today is looking at how DAM can help people working in the FMCG and CPG marketplaces. FMCG has some real specific characteristics shown down here. What we're on about is looking at how those unique aspects of FMCG not only apply to what you do, but how you do it as well. And we see this as nowhere more true than in the marketing of FMCG products. Specifically, we address this by saying that you need to have a fast mobile marketing projects. You need to be able to differentiate yourself from competition, and you need to do more for less. And this is how we address those unique aspects of FMCG. Right, so let's look at the first one, which is talking about short life cycles and product delivery periods. So what we're really talking about here is scales of efficiency. You need to be hyper efficient if you want to succeed in FMCG. You need to be able to improve your speed to market. You need to be able to respond quickly to new product lines, seasonal promotions, and a whole range of other influences that will affect your marketplace, the people you are working with, and you need to be able to respond quickly to that. You need to be able to collaborate easily because you'll be working with many people as you do this. New product lines will become available. You need to gather new assets for that very quickly and make that available to people. Now then, in our research of this webinar, and I must take some time here to thank very much Andra Silova, our marketing and social media manager here. She prepared much of this blog and did an excellent job in doing so. So all recognition there to Andra here. Okay, so during the creation of this blog, we interviewed quite a few different people, and we came up with what we thought was some really great quotes here. So here, let's have a look at what Alison said. from the A2 Milk Company, and she's saying that by having a digital asset management system has significantly reduced the time it's taken for them to find images and other content that they're holding within their dam. And that's what we're talking about here in being able to improve your speed to market. You need to be able to find your content easily. You need to be able to find it on the go, and you need to have instant access anywhere, anytime to that content. Alison, I know in talking to her at times, she said that she'll be on the bus on the way to work or something in the morning. She'll get a message from somebody. She'll pull out her iPad, select the content, send off a link to some people for the content. And she's done all of that, in between 2 bus stops, which is really great, really responsive, really easy to do, and delivers that instant gratification factor, which is really important. Okay, now then, to address the intense competition, and yes, I'm sure you can see from the images here that Entre has selected, we're seeing people walking into supermarkets, looking at what's on the shelves there. This marketplace is intensely competitive here. So how you're going to respond to this level of competition is by differentiating yourself and by improving the customer experience. Now, when we talk about customer experience, we're not only referring to maybe the people you're working with, an agency or the press, but also your consumers, the people who are going to be buying the product from you, taking the box off the shelf and taking it through the cash register. You need to improve the user experience for your entire environment that you're working in. Now, when we talk about that customer experience, that user experience, we really break it down into 2 factors. You need to be able to deliver the content that you're trying to distribute on the platform or via the channel that everybody is used to. And what we mean here is if people are used to getting content on their iPad, they need to have a responsive design app, that it works perfectly on their iPad, gives them full functionality so they can just use their iPad. If people are used to sharing content via the social media, you need to be able to be integrated with social media and share out content that way. Or is it just via emails and a link? And you need to give them a link and click the link and have a nice, well-branded portal for accessing content. So the first thing you need to do is you need to be able to deliver content on the platform or via the channel that your audience is used to and is expecting the content to be delivered to them via. And for you to do this, you need to take a multi-channel approach to feeding that content, and that all needs to draw upon a single source. So, I'm sure you've heard of multi-channel marketing, where you push out content to a lot of different marketing channels. Well, you've got to use that sort of concept in your day-to-day delivery of content. But, like when some people try to create a multi-channel process, they do so by duplicating content. So they've got the content sitting in social media, they've got it sitting on their website, on all of these different sort of areas. But that is really inefficient. It takes time and money to do all of that duplication, and it's also highly error prone. And what you want to look at is what Alison said down here. Alison from the A2 Milk Company again. Thank you, Alison, for providing these quotes. And here she said she's created collection folders within her dam, and those collection folders are all feeding from that single source of content. And then she can share out those collection folders to all of the different consumers that she's got out there via different means. She can provide a link to this via email. She can share out that collection folder onto social media. She can put that collection folder into a portal, so somebody can log into a portal and self-serve. And all of that is drawing from content stored in a single location. So having that central source or central repository of content, and then being able to distribute that out via lots of different channels. Very important if you want to address the user experience of your consumers. Next thing you need to do is you need to have a consistent marketing message. And again, it comes down to the duplication factor. If you start duplicating your content around, the first time you duplicate up a folder into different locations, it's going to be good. You then update the folder. You need to update the other folder you've duplicated this out to. And very soon you're going to be lacking in consistency. You're going to have some folders up to date, some other folders not up to date, and essentially it's going to be a mess. And you're going to really dilute your marketing message because it's not consistent, because consistency is all about the delivery of stable content, and that will help to reinforce your marketing message. And for this, to achieve that consistency, you really need to have that single source all the time. Now then, just back up to this quote up here. And here we are. Alison saying that because they're taking all of their content out of their DAM, they are really confident that the content is the most up-to-date. Typically, DAM systems have got what's called versioning. So say if you are updating a piece of collateral, a PDF or a brochure, you can store that in versions. So, when you share out that PDF, people will get the most recent version. So that means that you can be sure that you're being really consistent in your message through all of the different channels that you're sharing out content. And that's going to mean that you're going to be able to be more competitive because you're going to be able to differentiate yourself and improve the customer experience. Now then, the third point, this one here, it's a factor that we all live in. It's the 21st century FMCG marketplace. Essentially, it's a tight margin industry, meaning that you won't have a great amount of resources to do the marketing and delivery of content with. You essentially need to be able to do more for less. Now then, with the digital asset management system, some plain truths. We cannot change the cost of media. We cannot change the cost of your human resources. But what we can do is make you more efficient so you can get more done in less time. That's really good. One of the simple catch cries of digital asset management is can't find it, can't use it, and if you want to use or reuse content, if you can't find it, it's going to cost more to do that. And so the ability in your DAM system to group content together, to be able to tag them so you can search easily, to manage the content into different structures, like Alison mentioned, the different collection folders that she has for different projects. That all means that the content is going to be at your fingertips. You're going to be able to find it fast, use more, and take less time. And that's really important. And we can see here what Peter said there. It's all about streamlining their processes. This makes them more efficient, makes them able to deliver more content in less time. And at the same time, address those earlier points of delivering it on the platform and also keeping the content consistent. And these are the three main points that we've addressed so far. So a few extra things that we want to take on here, and this is looking at brand. Now then, this is not, we saw it as it sort of does become a unique challenge of the FMCG marketplace, and that's the ability to adhere to the brand guidelines. But adhering to brand guidelines, we see this with everybody in a marketing role. It's always been a very important thing for you to do because essentially the brand is very precious. You do not want to dilute the brand. You always want to keep the brand as pure as possible. Now then, one of the simplest ways of maintaining the brand within your digital asset management system is to also maintain brand guideline documents in the DAM as well. A good DAM, you can not only put images and videos and presentations in there, but you can also put your DAM, your brand guidelines as PDF documents in there as well. And then typically you can relate the content together. So you can relate a group of images, maybe they're all a particular logo with the brand guidelines. Now, what we see some people doing is when you look at the brand guidelines, you get a very long document. Like, it's not unusual to get about a 20 to a 40-page brand guideline document. And we must say, when we look at this from our perspective and talk to other people, they don't find that very user-friendly. It's a big document you've got to wade through to find the information that you're after. So what we suggest is that people should come down with like snippets of their brand guidelines that are specific for different content. So for your main logo, you might have a 2-page brand guideline that explains how to use that logo. For an alternate logo, another couple of pages of brand guidelines to show how you use that alternate logo. And so if you're managing this content manually, that would be really hard to do. You'd have to think, do they need that brand guideline or this brand guideline? And that's why you ended up putting it all together and sending somebody out the entire brand guidelines in one go to make sure you've got them everything they need to know. But it didn't make it easy. But with the digital asset management system, what you will be able to do is have those brand guideline snippets. And because you can relate them to the asset, and at that time you can plan it all out that these logo images relate to that brand guideline snippet. And then when you go to use any of those images, you've got that relationship there, so you don't have to think about it hard. You can just go and get the right brand guideline and be confident that you're sending out the right content to people along with the right descriptions of how to use that content. And that's something that you can do with the DAM, and it's very much different from working in a manual environment. Okay, now then, looking back up here, this is the sort of next question that we have people asking us frequently. They sort of, by this time, and after somebody's talked to us for 10 or 15 minutes, they're starting to understand what digital asset management is all about. They often sort of ask or have heard about, well, what's brand asset management and what's the difference really between the two? Okay, so digital asset management is all about having a single source repository for all of your content. As said before, a DAM can have videos, it can have brand images, it could have lifestyle content, it could have product-specific images. You can have anything you like in a DAM system. And digital asset management systems are all about finding content. And if you remember, I said before, it's all about can't find it, can't use it. So that's what DAM does. It allows, makes your content findable. Simple words. Now, what brand asset management or a BAM is all about is that typically is using a subset of the content maintained by the DAM. Specifically, you're looking only at brand content. Now, what a BAM does is it explains how to use that content. Right? So you're not only getting the content, but you're also getting descriptions on how to use the content. Now, what we suggest to people with a digital asset management system is that it's relatively simple to build a BAM out of a DAM. It's really quite simple. The process is that typically you'll create a subset of content that contains the brand assets. Maybe that's a folder sitting up at the root level that you've called brand, and within there you've got some albums, and you've put your logos and your different type of brand images in that folder there. And then you've also related in the brand guidelines associated with those images, and that's all good. And then you can create a branded portal, which is just for your brand content. And that brand portal can be separate from the general image and video portal that other people are getting lifestyle and product type of images from. And then you share out that brand or BAM portal just to the people who are working with your brand content. So that means that you can maintain and keep an eye on that content. You're working with just that community of people that are doing the brand asset management with you or consuming the brand from you. And you can be sure that what they're getting when they come in, they're not getting tens of thousands of images that are just overwhelming. They're only getting the 50 or 60 brand images that they really need to see. Maybe it's only a dozen, maybe it's less, and they're getting the right brand guidelines related back to those images, and it becomes really easy for these people. Harking back on, how are you going to differentiate yourself and make yourself more competitive? You've got to make it easy to use. So just having that brand asset management portal, just delivering out that subset of content makes it easy for people to get that content and also discover the brand guidelines whilst they're doing that. Great. Well, that covers off most of the content that we wanted to talk about today, how digital asset management can address brand the FMCG marketplace. But what's the future here? you could do what we've talked about so far in the past 20 minutes, and that would get you up and running with the DAM solution, and that would increase your efficiency to deliver content in an FMCG marketplace, maintain consistency, provide a better user experience, and maintain control over your brand. But what's the future? What can you do more than this? Where can you extend it to? Well, I sort of mentioned it there already. It's all about that control factor there. So when we're talking to people, we had a lot of people talk about how they had great amount of problems controlling their media assets, that they might have shared it out. Maybe they put it up into Google Drive, and they've made Google Drive available to people, and people basically copied it out of that onto their local folder and then started using it in any which way at all, and you've lost control over your content. So how can you retain control? Well, you can do that again with the DAM system. So you've got all of the control over who can access content, how long the content is available for. By making the interface really easy to use, you encourage people to come back to your portal all the time rather than just copying content out onto the local drive. And if you've got a cloud-hosted one, it's available all around the globe, so people can get it anywhere at any time on any device, and they can get the content they need. So by making it easy to access and by having that level of control at the same time, you have better control over your media assets. Next is coming up with looking at automation. So automations allow you to increase efficiency, make yourself more compliant with what you need to do in your organization. You can streamline your processes, that quote that we can still see on the screen there from Peter. What we're looking here to do is to really take out the manual step from working the DAM and making a lot of what's happening in the DAM system automated, making it easier for you to control your content and to make sure that it's being shared out to the right people. Next, you'll be wanting to look at integrations. Integrations are a great thing, and often, when we talk to people about a DAM system, we're very interested in what they might want to integrate the system with. These integrations can be extra channels. So, it might be going out to your website or your e-commerce site or your point of sale or ticketing or whatever system. And that just creates a wider range of channels for your DAM to distribute content out to. It might also be drawing information in. So an integration with an ERP or with the PIM is bringing in product information that may be used in the searching and the tagging of content. And so it increases the richness or the content that's available within your DAM. So integrations are really important. Now then, what's the real wrap-up factor here? Okay then. So a little bit of research that Entre did is this quote here, and it's really quite shocking. Here in this report, and you can see that that's linked off there, only 3% of executives working in the FMCG marketplace state that their technology supports the effort to improve customer experience. Well, 3% is basically no one, right? So that's really shocking. People are going out to marketplace trying to be competitive, and they don't have the technology to make it happen, really. So that's a real piece of truth, and it's really quite shocking. Now then, really, the wow factor associated with all of this is we've had people up and running with the DAM system in a matter of days. It is very easy to start using a DAM system. We really suggest to a lot of people, if it's the first time you're looking at a DAM system, that you start off with what we call a grab-and-go experience. Something that maybe within half a day of putting in some basic content, you could create your brand portal, maybe a bit of help from the team here at Data Basics, and the next day you're up and running. You're getting some benefit from it already. In another few days, you've filled it up with a few hundred assets, and you've got your general image and video library running, and you can start sharing that out to people. And that's really great to have some runs on the board and start improving the customer experience that you're having is really important. And to be able to do that in a few days is really good, is really wow, you know. You know, like, and people say, well, okay, and is that all I'm going to do? Okay, well, you can build in more over time. Like, you can add more content, you can add more portals, you can add more capabilities. You can build. It's you know, like a dam system is a really organic type of thing. Let it breathe naturally. Let it grow over time. You know, you may eventually want to go to an enterprise level system, and that's good too. You know, but only do it when you're ready. You know, and this is something that you can turn around today. You can really look at what you're doing to improve your user experience, improve your delivery of a consistent marketing message, make yourself more efficient, and being able to respond more quickly to the factors that are in your environment. Now then, quick look at the summary there. So, you know, I hope this morning I've been able to address these points about how having a DAM system is going to allow you to work with faster product life cycles, work in an intensely competitive marketplace, and also be able to deliver essentially more content for less. Now then, I'm going to wrap up at this point. I'm just looking. I haven't actually had any questions from people out there. That's fine. Often in these presentations, everybody's just absorbing the content. As said, we will be sharing out this webinar recording via YouTube, so you can have a look at it later, or you can share it around with your collaborators. Again, I'll just remind you that our next webinar will be in a couple of weeks' time. It'll be on the Flight by Canto solution. It's an excellent DAM, and if you're out there, you know, looking at what we've presented this morning and wanting to know where you could start, well, maybe have a look at Flight. That's a great option for you. And now then, the webinar after the 28th will be on Uploader, the extension for the Cumulus system that we create here at Data Basics. And I can see a question coming in there. Okay then. So this is one simple question that people ask all the time, and it's back to this control factor over here. Okay. If, say, somebody downloads your content onto their local hard drive, can you still control the content? Now, I have to be totally truthful and say no. You know, like if somebody does that, no, you know, they've taken the content out of your system, you can't control what they do with it after that. And there's pretty much not much that you can do about that other than being proactive. And that's what I was saying about, you know, if you make your system easy to use, very attractive to use, accessible from any platform, maybe more accessible than the content on their hard drive, because they can also get to this content from their smart device and from the bus and when they go elsewhere and when they're on holiday or something like that. If you make your portal more attractive and easier to use than any other system they've got, then they're going to keep on coming back to your portal for your content. And by being proactive that way, you'll maintain that control over your media because those people are coming back to you all the time. Okay, now then, another question came in. Right, back up to this one and the short shelf life. Okay then, yes. So we do see it, and this was the, you know, a lot of feedback that we had from people that, you know, we're saying short shelf life here. And that's typically, you know, like, you know, food or other consumable products have a short shelf life. But also what we see in these marketplaces and the feedback we get from people is also that you get a lot of change happen quickly, and you also get a lot of seasonality there. So say if you're marketing products and you're in a big department store and you're marketing, say, groceries, the different products coming at different seasons you need to respond to. You know, that's an example of being able to have a quickly changing marketing message over time, being very responsive to the FMCG marketplace. But I think generally within FMCG, what we're saying right at the beginning of the presentation is that these unique aspects of FMCG characterize not only what you do, but how you do it. And I'm going to use that as my wrap-up point because we believe that with the digital asset management system, you will be able to achieve those objectives more efficiently, at lesser cost and more great audience. Thank you very much. Look forward to catching up with you in the next webinar on the 28th. As said, you'll all be getting an email with access to this webinar. And thank you very much. Bye.